Are you struggling with porn or sex addiction? Then apply for a free strategy call with Eric today at powerfuleric.com.
It just drains you. And then you feel like you need to go back and refuel. And so that's when you go back and you watch another movie, or you grab another drink, or you buy another pack. And it's just a vicious cycle until you say, I'm done.
This is Porn Talk. Here is your host, Eric Zuzak.
Welcome back to Porn Talk in part 2 of our conversation with Tenya Eickenberg. We're diving deeper into how to unleash your inner superhero and overcome anxiety and porn addiction. Last time, we explored the power of 80s cartoons and healing energy. And today, we will focus on how Tenya's approach to addressing entities and offensive energies. Let's dive in. Welcome back, Tenya.
Thank you. I appreciate being able to kind of get into the more woo-woo stuff of this.
Absolutely. So a dear, close, my spiritual mentor, advisor, she's just been deceased for a long time now. She was very, very intuitive, psychic. Okay, and for those of you that say, psychic stuff, that's coming from the devil, then you can look at that instead. It's called, I have a friend who's a Catholic priest, and he's psychic, but they don't call it that. He calls it, he has the gift of discernment.
Yeah. So, it's funny how religion changes. Changes the terms.
So if you have, this person has the gift of discernment. And anyway, she told me, she said, if you could see what is on the astral plane, you could say the spirit world, the other side. And if you could see what was there when you walked into a bar, she said you would never go in.
Nope.
Because what she said is there are, say, things waiting to attach to you to get that high from whatever it is that you're going to do. So This is your world here, Tenya. Tell us more.
Yeah. So, these disembodied spirits, these entities, these things that we can't see, they're energy bodies. And, some of them might have been human at some point. Some of them might be from, other places, and they've just, come to earth to feed off of these low vibration feelings and energies that we're holding on to. And some of them have had addictions in the past, and they're not ready to move on because they still want to feed off of that energy. They still get that high, even though they are unseen. They still want to get that high, and they will attach themselves to people who are going through those same addictions. So alcoholics are going to have these unseen beings. And I always stress to my clients, do not have fear when it comes to these things. I don't want to talk to people and instill fear, because these I see these beings as like our neighbors down the street that are just, they're not sociable. They don't want to talk to anybody. They are just, they're just doing their own thing, and they're not very nice people, but it's just how they are, right? These entities, these spirit attachments, these offensive energies, it is their job to make us uncomfortable, to harm us in some way. And it's the only job they've ever known. And until we seek them out and have a little chat with them, they may not realize how much better it is if they go the other direction, if they start to become more positive beings. And I have helped many become more positive and let go of the people that they were hanging on to. Because really the high on the positive side of the other side is so much better than the low. But they just don't see it. Just like when we're in our grips of addiction, we don't see how much better happiness and joy feels, because we just can't see it. But these entities and these disembodied spirits, they cord themselves to us. And I call it like a sucking straw. And they just take and take and take whatever it is that they want. And those things that we're doing to make us feel good, they're taking it. Well, then we need more because they've taken it all.
Yeah. And, you're bringing up a good point with porn addiction or alcohol, whatever. Like, how do you feel afterwards? Like, I can honestly say, after viewing pornography, I never once ever felt like, oh, wow, now I feel so great. I'm so proud of myself. I
Right.
masturbated to the worst porn I could possibly find. And I just want to go out and I want to go tell everybody.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited about it. I'm going to tell my neighbors, oh, man, you should have seen the porn I was watching. I was on it all day. Or last night, I just got so smashed, I can't remember anything.
Yep.
It's quite the opposite, right? Like, we feel completely drained, not proud of ourselves, a lot of shame, guilt, and that shame and guilt in negative energy
Mm-hmm.
is what they're feeding on, right?
It just drains you. And then you feel like you need to go back and refuel. And so that's when you go back and you watch another movie, or you grab another drink, or you buy another pack. And it's just a vicious cycle until you say, I'm done. And in the first, they say the first step to recovery is admitting that you have a problem. And it absolutely is. In anything, the first step to recovering from anxiety and depression is saying, I have anxiety and depression. It does not have to be diagnosed by a doctor. Mine was not clinical, but I knew what I had. I knew that I was sad a lot of the time. I knew that I was worried a lot of the time. I knew that I held my emotions in. I knew that I used cigarettes and alcohol to cover them up. And I did not feel good. Like, I physically did not feel good.
Yeah.
Pay attention to how your body feels when you think about your addiction, right? Whenever you think about pushing play on the next video, pay attention to where in your body you're feeling discomfort.
I really like what you're saying there. To pay attention to your body and where that discomfort may be. If it's before you're acting out, what's going on there, and then afterwards,
Mhm.
how are you feeling?
Yeah. If you're feeling shame afterwards, there's something really that you need to look at, like, where's that shame coming from? And typically that shame is not coming from watching the porn. That shame is going to be coming from something that happened to you during childhood, or it could be something that was passed down from your parent. When I was healing my anxiety and depression, a lot of the stuff that I had to clear out and get rid of were inherited energies from my dad's dad, who was an alcoholic and died at a very young age. And they were just passed down through my dad to me. Yeah. And as I healed my anxiety and depression, I could see the shifts in my dad, because whatever I cleared from me cleared from him as well. But I didn't know that that's what was at the root of my mental illness. I thought it was other stuff with my ego.
Yeah, generational healing. I know on both sides of my family, I have addiction on both sides of my family. And so that, of course, plays a big part. But let's talk about solutions. So we know we have all these challenges: anxiety, depression, addiction, entities attaching to us. So, what are we going to do about it?
Well, you can always call find for me, I had to do the energetic work before I could do the conscious work. Because whenever I tried to do the conscious work before finding energy healing, it was so difficult. But mindset work does work. Changing your mindset absolutely works. Shifting your belief systems. If you find that you can't do the conscious work, seek out an energy healer. Seek out someone who can help to move that negative energy out, to leave more space, to bring more positive things in. If energy healing is not your thing, then do the mindset work. Start with journaling. Journal about what your beliefs are. Do you have, there are a lot of different beliefs, and I'll pull these up real quick, that you can have that you might need to address. It might be like, I'm unworthy of love, right? Why would you be unworthy of love as a human being? None of us are unworthy of love, but we often feel that way. I hate myself. I feel lost. I don't deserve happiness. I'm only happy when I'm in my addiction. Those are beliefs that you can address on a conscious level and really kind of journal about why you have them. The other things are meditation, which brings you into the moment. Anxiety is worrying about the future, worrying about the what ifs. Depression is being sad about what was or what could have been. So depression is the past, anxiety is the future. But when you can be in the moment, and everybody's like, what do you mean by being in the moment? Like, I'm right here. It's like, no, but when you're sitting there in silence, where does your mind go? Does it go to the past? Does it go to the future? Or is it just right now? Are you paying attention to how your muscles are twitching as you're just sitting there? Can you feel your toes on the carpet or on the hardwood floor? That is being in the moment. It's not being on your phone. It's not listening to music. It's just sitting there. And this is where meditation starts. Start with 1 minute a day of sitting in silence. And I swear that minute was going to feel like a half an hour the first few times that you do it. Because people do not know how to sit with themselves.
Absolutely. You're right. People do not know how to sit with themselves because there's usually a screen in front of them. Either a television, a computer monitor, a tablet, a phone, and now even a watch.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, there's self-care is such a huge thing that we need to start doing. Self-care really didn't start to become a thing until like the 1950s, 1960s. And it was something that typically women were sent away to do when they were having emotional breakdowns. It was something that the medical teams did for the mentally ill. It was, they sent them away. Then you'd come back and typically you'd be on something because it made you feel better. I mean, that's where the opioid crisis probably started. But we have to fill our cup first before we can take care of others, before we can help fill their cups. And we don't do that. And when we give and give and give and get, and then we give more, we try to, scrape the bottom of our barrel to keep giving. We then start to find the things that are going to make us feel good short term.
Yeah.
And that's where the addictions usually start.
Meditation and journaling are two tried and true things that are an absolute, in my opinion, must if you want to overcome an addiction. And there was a study done on journaling, and they found that journaling was as was as effective as going to a therapist. Not that you shouldn't go to a therapist, not that you
Right.
shouldn't go to a coach, but that's how powerful journaling is.
Yeah.
So all my clients I recommend journaling, and all my clients I recommend meditation as well.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, if you're scared to journal, I know a lot of women are scared to journal because their diaries were read when they were kids. And I'm guessing, I haven't worked with a whole lot of men, but I'm guessing for men to journal, it's more about, I'm a man, I don't have feelings, I shouldn't feel them. So why would I write them down? Right. For men, it might seem like a weakness to write down your thoughts and your feelings, but there might be that underneath layer of, what if somebody reads it? And with that, I get something with a lock on it. Do it on your phone, right? Apple has, I don't know if Android does, but Apple has a journaling app now. And there are tons of journaling apps out there that you can choose from. Now, handwriting is always going to be better. You don't have to pay attention to your spelling or your anything like that.
I agree.
Just write. You just don't worry, because if somebody reads it, bad on them.
Yeah. There's also another form of journaling called expressive writing or expressive journaling, where you don't put it in a journal. You just put it on like a yellow pad. You get it all out, and then immediately when you're done, you destroy it.
Right.
And that's very effective.
Yeah. And if you're worried about someone going through your trash, get a burn barrel, burn it. You can also do voice messaging. I've had clients, I've told clients to start your own Facebook page. Oh, not page, but your own Facebook group. Make it private, make sure people can't find it, but go in and post your own journaling into your Facebook group. You can go back and re-listen to yourself, or there's so many different ways to journal, and there are so many different ways to meditate. You can sit in silence to meditate. You can go for a walk. You can meditate while you're washing dishes.
Tenya, there's someone listening right now, and they're like, really, like meditation and journaling, really, like, I'm trying to break an addiction, and you're telling me to meditate and journal.
Yeah, because it will help you to find out why you have the addiction. It may take time. I promise you, this is not going to be an overnight. You're not going to journal for a week, or you might, but most people are not going to journal for a week and have an epiphany and go, oh, this is where my addiction started. This is what I need to work on.
So I'm doing the journaling, I'm doing the meditation. Where does the energy healing come in? So someone is struggling, maybe they have some attachments that they're trying to get rid of, or whatever. What is energy healing? What do you do with that? Like, how does somebody?
So energy healing at the most simplest form is, to me, these energy balls, trapped emotions, beliefs, trauma energies. They look like those little burrs that you get on your socks when you walk through a field. And so what I do as an energy healer is I tap into your energy through muscle testing. And it's just using my body as a conduit of sorts, to ask your subconscious questions. Like, what is it that is at the root cause of this addiction? And it might be a belief, right? And then we need to find out, do we need to know more about this belief, where it comes from? Is it inherited? And then we go deeper and we go, okay, what's underneath of this belief that we need to energetically deal with so that we can clear it or we can shift it? And so it might be trapped emotions that you developed when you were in high school, or, in your 20s, that were just like a trapped emotion of grief when you went through a breakup, and you just trapped it because you were just like, screw them. I'm not even going to deal with it. I'm not going to give them the energy. And you've been holding on to it.
So what method of energy healing do you like to use?
So mine is rooted in the foundation of the emotion code, which is using muscle testing. So muscle testing or kinesiology is using your body to tap into your subconscious. So I'll bring my camera down so you guys can see a little bit. So I use the ring to ring method, which is just kind of, putting your fingers together like this. And when I get a yes answer, it's strong. When I get a no answer, it'll pull apart.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I ask myself, okay, is my name Tenya? So it holds lock. Is my name Eric? No. Right? So is my name Fred? No. Is my name Tenya? Yes. So it just locks, and it's just automatic for me now. I muscle test foods. I muscle test all kinds of things. Like, is there anything in a certain book that might benefit me? And if no, then I don't need to read the book. It saves me a lot of time.
Yeah. Bless you. One of the methods that I like to use is the emotional freedom technique, or EFT.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's found very effective. But let's talk about some of the other things. Like, what about, if somebody's in a really dark place, maybe they're watching some really dark porn or into some serious drugs or whatever, and there might be something, on their shoulders, so to say. What do you do with somebody like that?
Well, they definitely need to seek out support. I'm not a therapist, and so I encourage a lot of my clients to work with therapists or go to support groups. Find somebody that they can talk to as well, because working towards, like I said, we talked about a lot about feeling feelings and setting boundaries. That is that conscious work that we still need to learn to do. And so we need to seek out someone who's going to help us to do that. But when you're feeling so low, having a support system is key. And shifting what you are consciously doing, as hard as it will be, is also key. So if you are watching dark movies or you're listening to dark music, you need to shift to lighter things, or turn the TV off altogether. Stop watching the news. Find a gratitude.
Yes.
Find a gratitude practice. With my clients, that's one of the first pieces of homework that I have them do, is start a gratitude practice. And if you can't find one thing throughout your day to have gratitude for, you definitely need to find a support system.
Amen.
You have to, because I tell my clients, what's one thing you can be thankful for? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, what about two-ply paper, toilet paper? Like, have you ever had to wipe with one ply, or been out of toilet paper and had to, I don't know, use a leaf when you're camping? And I try to bring humor into my sessions, because healing is a very hard thing to do. It's a very lonely thing to do. People think that just because you have all this support around you, that you're not lonely. But nobody, I don't even really understand totally what my clients are going through, because I'm not them. And healing is a very lonely process. So you need to find people who are going to be compassionate and are going to be empathetic.
Yeah.
And as a support group, I would encourage them to, when this friend or this family member comes to you and they need help, ask them, do they want to be hugged? Do they want to be helped? Or do they just want to be heard?
Yeah. The opposite of addiction is connection. And turning off the news, that device will allow you to connect with another human being. And journaling your thoughts will allow you to connect with yourself and your thoughts and feelings. And let's leave with one last thing here, with the superhero. So how can the 80s superheroes help with this?
Be your own superhero.
Yes.
Create your own 80s superhero avatar. And that is where it all starts, is with you.
Yes.
Nobody outside of you can heal you. They can help you. We can give you tools. We can give you suggestions, but it's up to you to take action. And that is one thing that every superhero has ever done, is they took action.
That's right.
So take action, be your own superhero, and create your own existence.
Oh, love it. Love it. Be your own superhero. If it's to be, it's up to me.
Absolutely. Yep.
Tenya, thanks for being with us today. So if someone wants to reach out to you and would like your help or services, how do they do that?
You can go to my website at designyourexistence.com.
Designyourexistence.com. That will get you in touch with Tenya. And Tenya, that wraps up our conversation. And I thank you for being here. It's been awesome. We've explored how channeling your inner hero, tackling entities, and addressing offensive energies can empower you to overcome anxiety and porn addiction. And thank you, Tenya, for sharing your insights and unique approach to energy healing.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. If you found this episode valuable, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more powerful discussions. Until next time, remember to harness your inner hero and keep striving for your best self. Be powerful.
Thanks for listening. If you're struggling with porn or sex addiction, reach out to Eric at powerfuleric.com.